At the beginning of Game of Thrones, Daenerys Targaryen received the title of the Unburnt, which literally meant that she was immune to fire and high temperatures. This title was not given to her merely for show. Daenerys truly demonstrated her fire resistance on several occasions. However, due to a few lines from Daenerys and other characters in the show, the impression was created that immunity to fire was a trait shared by all Targaryens. The members of this house referred to themselves as dragons, and in the past, nearly all of them were dragon riders. Therefore, having immunity to fire would have been both logical and useful for those who fly on fire-breathing creatures. However, as Game of Thrones progressed, evidence emerged suggesting that Targaryens could indeed burn, and with the release of House of the Dragon, there were even more instances confirming this. Naturally, this led many viewers to wonder, what's going on? Are Targaryens truly resistant to fire, or did Daenerys deceive everyone? Let's try to figure this out. There are at least a few instances in Game of Thrones proving that Daenerys was rightfully called the Unburnt. The first hint of her exceptional nature as one of the Targaryens came in the very first episode when Daenerys was preparing to meet her betrothed, the leader of the Dothraki, Khal Drogo, by taking a bath. The servants filling the tub tried to warn Daenerys that the water was almost boiling. However, the Targaryen heir paid no attention to their warnings and stepped into the incredibly hot water as if nothing was wrong. The servant even gasped in surprise, expecting her mistress to be burned, but the boiling water caused Daenerys no harm. Another notable episode involves the dragon eggs. In one scene, Daenerys' servant touched a heated egg and severely burned herself. But when Daenerys handled the egg afterward, they didn't harm her at all. The most important scene proving Daenerys' fire immunity was, of course, the moment of Khal Drogo's funeral. Daenerys ordered Drogo's body to be placed in a tent, locked the witch Miri Mazdur, who was responsible for the Khal's death, inside with him, and placed the 3 dragon eggs she had received as a wedding gift there as well. Then she stepped into the tent herself, and commanded it to be set ablaze. Ser Jorah, who accompanied Daenerys, was certain she would perish, but the next morning, Daenerys emerged alive and unharmed from the ashes of the burnt tent. Moreover, all 3 of her dragon eggs had hatched in the fire. This miraculous event truly demonstrated that Daenerys was unscathed by flames, something no other person could have survived. Interestingly, Daenerys wasn't the only character in Game of Thrones unaffected by even the hottest flames. At least one other being was immune to fire: the Night King, leader of the White Walkers. Up until the final season, the heroes of Game of Thrones hoped that dragon fire could stop the White Walkers. This was the main reason Jon Snow forged an alliance with Daenerys and requested her help. In the final battle, Daenerys, riding her largest dragon, Drogon, attacked the Night King. Drogon unleashed a stream of fire at him, but the Night King emerged from the flames unscathed. Many fans speculated that this meant the Night King was also a Targaryen. However, the real reason was the powerful cold magic that the White Walkers commanded. At the same time, the situation with Targaryens was far from straightforward. Many of them were not immune to fire and suffered from it just like ordinary people. Let's recall some of the most striking examples. In House of the Dragon, we are shown the story of Lady Laena Velaryon, whose father was Corlys Velaryon, and mother was Rhaenys Targaryen. So, Laena certainly had strong dragon blood, at least through her mother's side. The Velaryons themselves also hailed from ancient Valyria, just like the Targaryens, so Laena had the necessary lineage to be considered a dragon. However, when Laena experienced difficult childbirth and was near death, she decided not to wait for the suffering to end her life. Instead, she took matters into her own hands. She went to her dragon, Vhagar, and commanded her to burn her, which the dragon did. And Laena, like any ordinary human, died in the flames of the dragon. Another striking example from House of the Dragon is Aegon II. the brother of Rhaenyra, who took the Iron Throne, bypassing his older sister. This led to the Civil War, and during one of the battles, Aegon, riding his dragon, faced his aunt Rhaenys, who was also on a dragon. In this encounter, Aegon was caught in the fire of a dragon, suffered severe burns, and endured them for the rest of his short life. Thus, the Targaryen immunity didn't help him either. Years later, another Targaryen, Prince Aerion, also died by fire. Aerion was a reckless and somewhat foolish man. During a celebration, he boasted that, as a Targaryen, he was immune to fire. To prove it, Aerion drank wildfire, a highly flammable substance. The outcome was predictable and tragic. Aerion did not survive the wildfire. Interestingly, Aerion's brother, Aemon, the old Maester in the Night's Watch, was also not immune to fire. Though Aemon lived a long life and died of old age, after his death, his body was cremated, and the fire did its job quite effectively. Another tragic incident was the Summerhall tragedy, the summer residence of the Targaryens in Dorne. There, King Aegon V, along with his relatives, attempted a magical ritual to resurrect the dragons by breathing life into the remaining dragon eggs they had. However, this led to a fire, in which King Aegon V and his son Duncan Targaryen perished. One more vivid example is Daenerys' brother, Viserys Targaryen. He was very ambitious and constantly emphasized his heritage, calling himself a dragon. But his antics angered the Dothraki, and they poured molten gold on his head. Viserys did not survive, and Daenerys later remarked that her brother was not a true dragon. Finally, even Jon Snow, who was actually the son of Rhaegar Targaryen, and whose true name was Aegon, was not immune to fire. In his encounters with fire, Jon Snow was not invulnerable and sustained burns like any ordinary person. Thus, fire resistance was certainly not a trait shared by all Targaryens. But why did Daenerys have this ability? What made her unique? The legends of Targaryens having dragon blood and being immune to fire may have some basis in reality. It's easy to speculate that some of Daenerys' ancestors, perhaps back in Valyria, were truly fire-resistant. This could have been a rare gene or ability that occasionally manifested in the Targaryen bloodline. The Targaryens who died from fire were simply unlucky to be born without this ability, while Daenerys was born unique, worthy of her legendary ancestors. In other words, some Targaryens may indeed have had immunity to fire, but far from all of them. However, there are other theories as well. It's quite possible that Daenerys' fire resistance had nothing to do with her ancestry, and the fact that she was a Targaryen may have been mere coincidence. In reality, Daenerys' immunity to fire could have come from completely different reasons, magical ones. Following this theory, we can dismiss Daenerys' previous displays of resistance. For example, the water in the bath may have been just hot but bearable, not boiling, and the dragon egg might have cooled down before she picked it up. The case with Khal Drogo's funeral and the hatching of the dragons, however, was closely tied to the witch Mirri Maz Duur. This witch served Daenerys, but she hailed from a tribe whose homeland had been pillaged and destroyed by the Dothraki. Mirri sought revenge and intentionally caused Khal Drogo's death, as well as the death of Daenerys' child. Mirri was a powerful witch, skilled in dark magic. It's possible that when Daenerys ordered her to be burned along with Drogo's body, Mirri cast a spell that worked in such a way that it protected Daenerys from the flames. We must not forget that the dragon eggs were also in the fire, and dragons are inherently magical creatures. This could have played a role as well. In the end, Khal Drogo's funeral pyre became more than just a burial. It was a blood sacrifice, which, along with the magic of the dragon eggs, created the perfect storm of sorcery, allowing Daenerys to survive the flames. Based on this theory, we can conclude that Daenerys' survival in the fire was a unique and unrepeatable event, and it's unlikely that the Mother of Dragons would have been able to perform this trick again. At least, she never had the opportunity to try. But there's another theory. a more poetic one. Another plausible version, in my opinion, is that Daenerys was the chosen one, the figure promised in the prophecies of the Targaryens and the followers of R'hllor, the god of flame. R'hllor's followers believed that one day there would be an epic battle between R'hllor, the Lord of Light and Fire, and his antagonist, the Great Other, the Lord of Night, Darkness, and Cold. In his battle, R'hllor would be aided by Azor Ahai, the chosen one destined to defeat darkness and cold and stop evil. This prophecy was intertwined with another known among the Targaryens, that the promised prince or princess would come to stop the evil approaching from the north and save Westeros. Since the northern evil did indeed awaken in Game of Thrones, it wouldn't be surprising for the chosen one to appear as well, and that individual would need to possess unique powers. Daenerys seemed the perfect candidate for this role, and it would make sense for her, as Azor Ahai, to have resistance to fire, since R'hllor is the god of fire. So what do you think is the reason Daenerys survived the flames? Share your theories in the comments. And that's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your engagement is the best reward for me. Thank you for watching, see you soon, bye.